Yeah, YouTubers, Tasman here, bringing you another episode of Learn JavaScript with Foundry VTT. And in our last episode, which I just barely finished recording, we were talking about optional chaining. And in this one, we're going to talk about another container type called sets. So I believe so far we've talked about multiple sets. We've talked about arrays, or not sets, sorry, containers. So we have arrays, we have objects. We've glossed over maps, but the next episode we're actually going to go into maps a lot more. And by glossed over, we've actually converted maps to arrays because we needed to do that. But in this one, we're going to talk about sets. Now, sets are unique in a way that, actually, I forgot. We're version 10.291. Here we go. Let's go ahead really quick and do this. And do this, and we'll do, what number are we on? 13, 14 dash sets. That'll work. And go ahead and do this. Control C, close this. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about sets. So sets are something that you use to hold things. However, they have to have unique values. So we've talked about arrays, where we can have an index based system where we, element 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. And then we can have nested arrays and stuff like that. Sets is kind of just a random, how would I describe it? Sets would be like an array, but not indexed. And therefore, it has to have all unique values because you can't have two values that are the same. So a lot of times, a set is used for deduping, making it so that your data set is all just unique values. So for example, let's I'm going to copy and paste this. Control C. Let's say we have an array, maybe we'll just say names. Do const. Let's do constant names. I'm going to go ahead and hit F12 while I'm thinking about it so I can make this a little bigger. And hit equals and V. So here is some characters I have. These are their names. And as you can see, we have umus twice, we have rise twice, and so on and so forth. But let's say this is a data set that is, ginormous. Let's say, let's just duplicate this a couple times. And do space V. So now we definitely have a lot of values that are the same. Now, because this is an array, we know this is element 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's okay to have multiple that are the same because the index is unique. We can't ever have another 0 down here. We might have 10, 11, 12, something like that. But each index is going to be unique that we associate each of these with. Now, if we were to have this be a set, when you create it, at least from an array, will automatically dedupe everything. So the way we create a set is we do const and we do PCs. And so it's pretty much the same. However, we use the new keyword because we're creating a new object, and uppercase S, ET, and then our parentheses. Then all we have to do is pass in our array inside there, and we can say names, right? And a semicolon there, and a semicolon there. So now if I go ahead and output PCs, we can actually say console.log and do, let's do names. No, I called it PCs. I'm going to call it PCs again. So PCs like so, and comma, and PCs, PCS. So if you're expecting this to be exactly like this guy, you'd be wrong, because there's a lot of ununique names in here. The umus is in here, what, 6 times or something like that. So in the sense of deduping, this is going to be really powerful, because it's going to be able to say, hey, this one already exists, I'm ignoring this second one. So if we run this, I'm going to go ahead and do that and do that, you'll see that instead of having all these things, we just have umus, rise, astra, and brick. Now it still is showing us the values here as 0, 1, 2. However, if I were to try and say PCs bracket 0, I believe we'll just get an error, because a set doesn't, well, we won't get an error, we'll get undefined, because it doesn't exist. There isn't an actual index in a set. And at that same note, we actually have no real way of accessing specifically something like we do with an array, where we say, oh yeah, I want item number 5 or something like that. So a set basically is just that. Now we do know that we can then, after we've done this, we can go like we do with a map, we can convert it back over to an array, and that will actually once again make it so it's indexed, because it's going to index each of these items as we go. However, don't be confused, or don't be tricked that just because it's shown the 1, 2, and 3 here, these are not the actual things. In fact, in a giant data set, these don't even have to be in this order. It could be any order. I don't know if we run it multiple times if it'll ever change it, but a set is not in any order. So you can't say element 0 is always going to be umus. Hopefully that makes some sense. So anyway, if we wanted to, oh, actually one thing I want to point out. So you will see here though that it does have the property size. So we can always check the size of a set, but we can't actually access any of the data as easily as we do with others. We can access the data, but it's a more manual process, kind of. I don't know how to really describe that. So just for just for saving space, I'm just going to cut it back down to the original, where we have 2 umuses and 2 rise, and everyone else is individual. And you'll see that's not going to change anything. We still have a set of 4. All right, so I'm going to do console.log and just do that. So we have a nice, oh my gosh, I can't. And of course I didn't do the semicolon. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and, what was my next note here? Oh, we can also create a set from, say, a string. Because a string is an iterable object, we can actually create a set from it. Iterable means that we can actually iterate through it and access one piece at a time. So for example, let's say we have a string, con it, we'll do const my string string, and we'll set it to Tasman is the best. Actually, I'm going to do this a little different. I'm not going to, no, I'm going to do it this way. You can actually assign a set like to the string. So, well, no, we did it there. I'm just trying to think of another way to kind of give the example. Here we took that. Let's just do it this way, because here we're actually assigning a variable, which is an array there. This one we're actually going to do, let's do new set like so, and like so. And then we're just going to have a simple string in here. How about T4ZZM4NN is the best? Because, yeah, I am, right? No. So anyway, what this is going to do is it's going to create a set here. However, it's going to emit any duplicates in this. So if we output this now, console.log, and let's do my string or something like that, just to my string, master, wow. Going to do that, and comma, and we'll do my string. So what this is going to do is return, once again, something that's not very legible, because it's going to get rid of the 4s, it's going to get rid of the z, it's going to get rid of 1z, it's going to get rid of 1 4, it's going to get rid of n, it's going to get rid of s, it's going to get rid of e. Yeah, so we're not going to get a very legible thing. So if we execute this, you can see here that we have a set of 13. We have the T4Z, MN, the space. Of course, the space is considered something, but it's not going to do all of them. Then we have IS, THE, and B. So, and then the exclamation point. So as you can see here, we've converted a string into a set. And then, as I was pointing out, we have the size operator, or the size property, that we can always access. So let's grab this real quick, drag that down here. Dude, I should be adding my comments as we go. Let's see here. So let's just say console.log, and how do I want to do this? My string string size colon. By the way, I think I've gone over this too, but the reason we have the comma here and we're not trying to do a string literal or anything like that is because my string does not convert well over to that. So if I were to come in here and, you know, change this to a string literal, I don't remember if I've talked about that before, but let's say we wanted to do this, and then we wanted to try and stick my string in here. We're not going to get the output that we're expecting. So if we do my string like that, if we execute this, you'll actually see that we just get back my string size is object set. So it's not actually going to output the object in a way that we can see here. It's actually going to turn what it is into basically a string. So that's in case you were like, why does he keep doing comma and sometimes not? That is why. So if we do it this way, and it doesn't matter if this is considered the literal, because this is just a string type, you'll see that we actually get our set just as we expect, although I forgot the dot size. Because that's our property. There you can see it's 13. But oh man, my throat is already hurting. All right, so I'm going to copy and paste my comments because, like I've always said, I'm a slow typer, but I will read them. I know you might not be able to see them really well. That's why I'm reading them. So sets are like arrays, however they can only have unique values. Sets can be used to deduplicate data, which is what we've been demonstrating. And then here we have Control C, we go Control V. We can also deduplicate a string. Not sure why, but we can. So I'm not sure why we would want to. I guess if you're playing Hangman, it would let you know exactly what. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea why you'd want to do that. And then here is this comment right here. We can also deduplicate a string. Oh, whoops, that was the wrong comment. Sorry, it's this comment. Actually, no, I didn't have one. I had the wrong comment for this one anyway. So we can, let's see. We can use the built-in PROPERT property size to get the size. Sure. So that is that. Let's see. Then we have there's also a function that we can use with this that is called has, which is handy with sets. So let's go and do that one. So here we say we can check if a value is in a set with a built-in function has. Now this is kind of the way we can check, you know, and get values from a set, kind of. Not really though. It's not very efficient. It would be much more efficient to convert a set into an array and then be able to access values that way. However, we could kind of, if we really want to make life difficult for ourselves, we could, you know, check if a value exists in the set, and then if we know it exists, then we can say, yep, this value exists, or use that value. And if we wanted to remove it from the set, we can do that, which we're going to go over next. So let's, for example, check. I'm going to check two things here. Control C, and I'm going to paste them in here because we're almost out of time and I'm not making good time here. So here we can see we're going to check if umus is in my set. So we're going to use PCs, and then we're going to use that built-in function called has, and we're going to check for this string. We're also going to do this one. We're going to check if has this one, and we're going to check this string. And basically, well, let's go ahead and output that and you'll see. So here you can see it's going to return true. Has is going to return true or false. So the first one is true because umus does exist in our set, where the second one is false. Tezrian does not exist in our set. Sorry, I gotta get some water. So as I was saying, if we know umus exists in our set, we can pretend like we extract that from the set and return umus, but really not very handy. The biggest thing sets I find are useful for is just deduping and then converting them right over to an array or something else. So let's go ahead and let's see. Our next thing, we're going to learn how to add something, because we can actually add and remove something from a set. And of course we can clear a set so that there's nothing in there. However, this isn't extremely useful other than for the deduping property. However, I wanted to point out one thing. So we're going to go ahead and add an element to our set. And yeah, we're almost out of time and I have a lot to do. So I'm just going to do a copy and paste again from my notes. So here you can see, I'm going to go ahead and copy you. Oh, I don't have any semicolons on any of these. So I do on that one. All right, so here you can see we're going to try and add Tezrian, and then we're going to try and add Tezrian a second time. Well, it's not going to error out when we use the add built-in function add, it's going to add it. But if it already exists, it's simply going to ignore this. So if I execute this, you'll now see that our set actually contains Tezrian. I really wish it would actually scramble it so you could see that, yes, it doesn't care about order. So we can add things to the set. We can add as many things as we want. However, if we try and add something that's already there, it's simply going to ignore it. It's not going to error out. So let's go ahead and copy this and get our next little chunk. We can also delete things from our set. I'm going to just grab this chunk right here and we'll paste it in here. So here you can see now we're actually going to delete Tezrian. Now I'm sure you've already put this together, but this has to be exactly what that is. It has to be the exact value. If we have Tezrian with 2 N's, obviously it's not going to delete it. So if we run this guy, you'll see here we have Tezrian, and now here we do not. Actually, you're not going to see Tezrian here. You'll see it here, but when I expand it, it's updating off of the set itself. So here we see Tezrian, here we do not. That's a thing also to keep in mind when you're updating these things, that ones that are up here actually will update. Like before, when we did Tezrian, it actually won't show Tezrian here, but when we expand it and it actually goes and accesses the set, it would have it there. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so then of course, as I was saying, we can clear a set. So we're gonna go ahead and C and V. We have 2 more things I wanted to go over, and then I think we can call this video good. So here we are going to output our set, which is basically the same as this one here, but I don't know why I wrote 2's here. I changed that. So we're gonna output it, then we're gonna clear it, and we're gonna output it again. And if what your thought is we'll just get an empty set, then you would be right. So here you can see we have our set with everything in it, but then now we have a set with 0 in it, 0 entries. And our final part I wanted to go over with sets is now we have an empty set. So I'm going to have to go add all our stuff in there again. So I'm going to do that really quick. And also include this note, which I already said earlier, but I wanted to have this note in there, that there is no way of retrieving specific values from a set. We can only check if a value exists in one. However, we can loop through a set, and that's the final thing I wanted to go over. So we're going to go ahead. We added everything back into our set, including Tezrian this time, and we're going to loop in it. And we do this just like we loop anything else. You know, we can just do PC of PCs, and it will actually go each one and kind of go through. So just a for loop. You'll see we're saying we're looping, and then we're just going to simply output a little dash, 2 spaces, a little dash, and then the actual name. So if we run this, there you go. You can see we're looping through it, but once again, we have no way of actually accessing an actual value. But when we're checking for a value, technically, when we're seeing if it has the value, we know that that value exists. So in some way, you're kind of getting the same info, because if it exists, you know you have value. So yeah, I think that is everything I wanted to cover with sets. And like I said, if you guys know better ways or where they're really useful other than deduping, I'd love to know, because in my experience, the only real usage I've found for sets, for the most part, is, you know, deduping, getting unique values, and then almost instantly converting it over, which I think, like, if we wanted to do that, we could, because we've done that before, right? We've done what did I call this? This is the PCs still. So we could actually say PCs array and equals, let's go and do const. Oops. PCs array, and then I'm trying to remember the array thing. I think it's new array, right? Like that, and then you pass in the set. Like that. I think I'm right? I don't know. And then let's console.log. And we should be able to access any of these values. Now, once again, I'm not going to know specifically. There's no guarantee that UMUS will be in array element 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I would have to kind of look at them and see what's there, or do a search of my array to know what the element is or something like that. So if I do console log PCs array, darn it, array like that. Let's see if it worked right. There we go. I think. Did that work right? It still says set, so maybe I did do this wrong. I might have to look that up. Let me just go see if we can PCs array. Let's do bracket to bracket. I feel like I might have the syntax wrong. Yeah, see, we're getting undefined because it's still a set. I'm gonna have to look what we did there. But anyway, that's technically where it becomes useful. You dedupe, and then you convert it back over to an array or some other thing that is indexed. So I think that's it. I think we're going to go and call it good here. In the next episode, which I haven't completely got figured out what I'm going to do on it, we're going to talk about maps. And like I've said, we've had experience with maps and converting them to arrays, which is what I thought I was doing with the set, and I'm pretty sure it's similar. I just don't remember. Actually, if I come up here real quick, would it be? It might be in get data. Oh, it's just .array from. That's right. Okay, I've got to try it. I've got to try it. Let's go ahead and do console.log, and we will go ahead and do array.from. I don't know if this is going to output the way I'm expecting it to write like this, though. PCs. I kind of feel like this is going to error out. F12. Oh! I did it! I did it right! Then, well, if I assign that to something, now you can actually see. So, yes, I was thinking new array, but it's this array from. That's what it was. Maybe I'll stick a note in here real quick, and then we'll do our outro. Converting a set to an array. All right, so I think that's good. I'm happy now. I was totally drawing a blank. Did that actually save? I think if we hit execute, it actually saves it. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Aside from that, comment, like, and subscribe. Click that little notification bell. Follow me on Twitter. Check out my Discord and my other channels. Don't forget to tell other people about my channel. Have them check it out. If they like what they see, they can sub. We grow the channel. Everybody wins. And that is it, my friends. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.